This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections.
And yes, Mr. Moon, here we are at the Bristol Auto Cruise. And we got some stock cars here, huh?
Yeah, we got 5 or 6 race cars that I brought in. We wish I had some more come in, but there's some problems with other cars, people sick and stuff. But
Well,
we're having a good show.
you can't have them all. And I want you to tell the people the history of number 9 here in the modified ranks.
Well, the history in this car, I built it in 1975, and I won quite a few races with it. And I had Stosh Gregor, I had Reggie Luxurio driver. Reggie drove me. Stosh won me one race, and Reggie Luxurio gave me 10 feature wins in 1 year.
Oh, wow.
So Stosh drove it once, I drove it. We got 12 feature wins with this car at Plainville.
So it's a good car.
This is a pretty good car. It gets around good, it goes good, but it's a money pit.
Well, hey, you know what? When you're having fun, it could cost you money.
Yeah, sure does. It's nice to have a lot of fun on the racetrack. I remember those days like it was yesterday.
Yep. We all miss the race days at Plainville and the park and the people that have gone away. Sadly, we lost. Sadly, we lost the Silver Six, Smitty.
Yeah, it ain't going to be like it used to be.
Nope.
But we're going to sure have fun, keep on going.
Hey, you know what? This is what it's all about, Don. Coming to a place like this and talking to the people about history. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, there's a lot of history behind it. I could tell you a lot of stories if we got a lot of time to talk.
Don't worry, I got them too. I could tell you, I was telling a story to somebody about John Ferroni, the father.
Right.
Yeah. How in the pits, I was walking with him. Bart Rocco went by in the car, and John says, "Hold it." And he says to Rocco, "Do you got a quick change rear in this car?" And Rocco gave it the bird and took off and ran over his foot. Hey,
No.
honest to God, I'll never forget that. And he chased Bart Rocco all over the place.
Yep.
But he was one of those colorful people.
Was it 116? No, 161. That
61.
61, 161. Bart Rocco was a black car, 37 Chevrolet.
Yeah.
And one night we were out there in the race, and he couldn't keep it straight, and I got alongside him and straightened him out. And we came for the lead, and I won the show.
Oh, wow. Nothing
That
wrong.
was back in the novice days.
Nothing wrong with that, buddy.
No.
Well, we didn't want to tie you up, Don. I know there's a lot of people want to talk to you, and as usual, you're right on your game. And it was good to see the number flying 9.
Yep.
And yes, here we are at the Bristol Cruise Night, and we run across a familiar face, Ron Knox. And are you with the stock car tonight, Ron?
Yes, I am.
Tell me, where'd this car come from?
This car ran at Riverside, and then it ran at Plainville, and also ran in New York State. It was driven by Bob Stepanek and Ronnie Wyckoff.
Oh, Ronnie Wyckoff was a favorite of us. I tell you, rest in peace, buddy.
Well, Bob Stepanek was pretty well known too.
Oh, yeah, 2 great people.
They won a lot of races with this car.
Oddly enough, I can remember Bob Knox, who was your brother,
My brother.
upside down from Eldon Hill.
Absolutely. That's right.
Now tell me, how does he talk about it?
Very rarely. He doesn't like to talk about that one, but he does remember helping him out of there.
He always had a great cars, I'll tell you that. Yeah.
And he built every car.
Yeah, yeah.
He built all his own cars.
Now tell me, you still got the dirt cars too?
Yeah, well, I got the number 73, but we're finishing it up. We raced it, and it got wrecked, so we're redoing it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're redoing it. We'll have it ready shortly.
Yeah, well, we can't wait to see it. Don't forget.
We would like to have it here, but...
Don't forget, you got Plainville Stadium not too far off, Reunion.
I know. We're going to have it there, I believe.
Yeah.
I hope.
We hope. Yeah. Now, tell me, do you ever bring this to a track and run it around?
Yes, I brought it. Bobby and I brought it up to Bethel Speedway up in White Lake, New York, and I ran it for 15 laps.
I mean, in a real race or just
No,
a
they just let us out there and run it.
All right.
But we did run it.
Oh, wow. I would love to sit in that car and run around a
It
racetrack.
went real well, I'll tell you.
It looks it. Yeah. Tell me, you gonna drive this car someday?
I can. I'm too large to
Okay.
drive this car.
You're like me. I'm always on a diet every day. Ron.
Right.
You don't have to. This guy stays in shape.
Yes, he does.
So tell me, where you call home, buddy?
I live in Terryville.
Terryville. Wow. So you come here a lot to this
It's
event?
the first event I've ever been here.
Okay. All right.
First time.
Well, that's good. This is our first trip too. I am.
We were glad that they're bringing the race cars here. It's important.
Yeah, it is. You know what? History is here.
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't enjoy that, there's something wrong with you.
Well, not only that, a lot of these cars are gone. You know, I mean, they're
Yeah,
gone.
they're
and,
gone.
And what we have now needs to be shown.
You know, people like Stefanik and Wyckoff are gone, but their memory will live forever.
Well, yeah, because they're both in the Hall of Fame.
They are. You got that right.
You know.
Yeah. Well, we want to wish you luck tonight. I hope I see you here every week or every year, excuse me.
Well, we'll
And I hope I see you at the Plainville reunion.
We'll be there at Plainville, but we'll be here again.
Okay, buddy.
All right.
Someday you got to let me drive this car.
A lot of people want to drive it.
Okay. And yes, we got Dennis with this number 5. You got to tell me about this car, Dennis.
So this car was built in Agawam, Mass. in 1965, and supposedly built as backup car for Buddy Krebs. And it did see some action, and then it was sold on to someone in New Jersey and made its way down to Virginia, where I found it on a farm, and we brought it back here and put it back to the way it was built in 65.
Whereabouts in Virginia did you find it?
Right over the Pennsylvania line on the southern side. Don't remember the name of the town. It took us about 6 hours to get there.
Oh, wow. I tell you, I got to catch the disease, I like to call it. These cars are special.
They are fun, and this car actually runs in vintage events, and it's a bull to handle because it's built in 65, but it is a great car, and it's a lot of fun, better than any roller coaster ride you've ever been on.
I could imagine. I mean, Buddy Krebs was special, let me tell you.
I hear a lot about him, and if you actually Google his name, you'll see some of the cars, the number 5, the Friendly Mobile Service Special. He had a sedan. This one, I believe there's another one in the fleet as well.
That's right.
Yep.
I know the sedan. And I don't know if you know, he was a musician.
He was.
Yeah.
Yes, I spoke to someone in his family about that, and they said he was actually really good. Really good. Yep.
He
Yep.
was. You're
Yep.
right. So you come to these events often?
Well, I'm here actually to support the club because I think they do great work. It's actually worked out good because we're not running the car tonight. We ran it last week in Pennsylvania, but we do run this car at least a couple of times a month in various vintage events. But yeah, it's good to be out here supporting the club and the good work that they do here.
You belong to NEAR too? Or?
I do. I belong to NEAR and ACOT, the Atlantic Coast Old Timers, and great bunch of guys. I'll tell you, they really are. They really are.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, you can lose your transmission out on the track, and when you come in, oh, we got one, we'll put it in right now. You know, they're just to keep you out on the track. They're great guys.
You know, I started a vintage race in a motorcycle. The best guys I ever met. I'm telling you, just fantastic thing.
Well, at the end of the day, at the end of the night, we're all here to support each other and keep these cars running and keep not only the cars alive, but the memory of the people that drove them, because it was a different era back then. So it's not like it is today. So.
Who's your little buddy here? Who's this?
We don't. What's your name there, son? Kristen? Okay.
Ethan? Oh, wow.
You like this car?
Hey, someday you may drive one, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, but Dennis, thank you for your interview, and we hope to see you again.
Yes, thank you very much.
And yes, we got Jody here with this beautiful modified. Tell me, Jody, how did this all come about?
Well, I've been involved with racing for quite a few years, and acquired the car up in Massachusetts a couple years ago. And I completely tore the whole thing apart, put my own stuff in it, own sheet metal, and built motor, everything. Put the whole thing together, and we have fun with it.
So you started out what kind of chassis?
It is a '96 Troyer chassis.
Okay, and then little by little, you collected parts.
Yeah, yes, I collected parts. I'm involved with racing, so I know a lot of the guys that are racing, and I get some of the used stuff, and I refurbish it and redo it, and it ends up being new by the time I'm done.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a beautiful car.
Thank you.
And I got to ask you, what kind of motor are you running?
That's a small block Chevy, 355 cubic inch, but about 500 horse.
500 horse, wow.
Around there, yeah.
Now, do you take it to track days and stuff?
No, yeah, we have. I belong to. It's called American Vintage Modifieds. We run them at Waterford Speed Bowl, and then we do. They're called the Vintage Outlaws. We run them at Stafford Motor Speedway a couple times a year.
Now, I knew about near, but I didn't know about the setup. What did you call it? American?
American Vintage Modifieds. We run them on Wednesday nights, 6 times a year at the Waterford Speed Bowl.
Oh, wow. I'll have to get down there.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to see.
I need to catch this disease, I like to call
Well, it is a disease, I will tell you that, and I've had it since I was about 5 years old. So,
You know what?
and never gonna leave.
It don't leave your blood easy.
No, it never does. It never does.
Yeah. So you got a family affair going on with this car too, or what?
Well, my wife, she comes. My daughters think it's kind of neat. They think I'm an old nut, a little crazy, but they come once in a while, and my wife comes, and I have my friends help me out at the track, and it's a good time. Yep.
Yeah, it is. The people you meet in racing are special, I'll tell you.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, Eddie Flemke drove this car last spring Sizzler in the American Vintage Modified race.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he got in the seat.
Yeah, he drove for years. His father.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Well,
God.
they're both even juniors. Great guy.
His father driving a car was like magic.
Yes, and even Eddie Jr. is very good, and he when he builds a car, it's like magic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we did a TV show with him.
Yep.
I don't know how many episodes, and it was so interesting how these cars go together.
It really is. It's a lot of time. It's most of them are hand done. A lot of them are hand done.
Yeah.
But the sheet metal on this is all hand done, and it's a lot of time. I love it though. I wouldn't give it up for anything in the world.
I don't blame you. Yep. Somehow I got to find one of these cars.
Right. Yeah, they're out there. You got to be out there and look.
Hopefully we're gonna catch you at one of these events driving a car, and I know you're just enjoying it just by the smile on your face.
Yeah. This is great stuff.
Jody, thank you. You've been excellent.
All right. Thank you.
Take care, buddy. Let me give you a... Yes, we got somebody here very special we haven't seen in years. Stosh Gregor, a throwback from Plainville Stadium. Is that where it all started, Stosh?
Oh, yeah. 1971, Rookie of the Year, Plainville Stadium.
Wow.
Yes. That was the best time.
1971. Oh, my dear.
I know. Yesterday, right? Where'd all the time go?
Where'd it go?
I don't know.
Now tell me, how many checkers you take there?
Oh, geez, I don't know total, but I think in my whole career it was about 65 to 70.
Wow. I know you won a lot of races, and you were lucky enough to drive to a lot of good people, right?
Oh, absolutely. Some of the best. Bobby Judkins, Billy Pelly. Let's see, the number 9 car, Billy Simons. Yeah, there's been a few really good cars, good people to drive for.
Yeah, I mean, you were fortunate to have good cars, and you drove some at the park too, right?
Oh, yes, quite a few of them. Kurt Chase's car, we won races there at Monadnock Speedway in New Hampshire. Billy Pelly's car, we won 2 championships. Let's see, and Monadnock was a bunch of cars I drove around here. I can't even remember. It's been so long.
You were the man, I'm going to tell you.
Oh, yeah. Well, in the good years, yes. I mean, those were the fun years of racing in your later 70s, early 80s.
Now tell me, what was your favorite track?
It had to be Riverside Park. That was my home, 16, 18 years, every Saturday night.
Every Saturday night.
Right? Every Saturday night, unless we had a rain.
Who was your nemesis there?
Oh, geez, Reggie Ruggiero. Well, he was the toughie.
Oh, he loved Riverside.
Oh, yeah, Reggie was the best. He was behind you in your lead, and you're looking in the mirror, all you can see is that little mustache of his. And you don't know if he was inside or the outside or nothing, but Reggie was clean with me.
Yeah, we were
good friends.
He was a good driver, let me tell you.
Oh, he was one of the best modified drivers around.
Absolutely, and to think he came from Plainville with a car you wouldn't go down the street with. That's how it was put together with chewing gum and wire.
Oh, yeah. We built our race cars in our own garages. We used to go to the dumps, the junkyards, and pick out the straight axles, the brakes, the rear end.
The junkyard was your best friend.
Oh, definitely. That's where you get all your parts. But nowadays it's all different. It's all homemade.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these shocks on these cars go for $400 or $500.
I know, it's ridiculous, I'll tell you. It's racing has gone awry.
Oh, definitely. But still, I haven't been to the races since my last race in 1996.
I'm going to tell you, I go to vintage racing more than I do the pros.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to start attending because Don Moon, I know him. I drove for him one night at Playville Stadium back in the 70s. They had an open competition race. And that week at work, he broke his arm. And he called me. He says, you want to drive the car tomorrow night? I said, yeah, it was a 100 lap when we won the race.
See, you never know.
No, you never know. But those are the good years at Plainville Stadium.
Oh, sure they were. I mean, when that place closed, I'll tell you, it was like a death.
Oh, definitely. Everybody was sad. You know, that was the center of all racing. I mean, from Waterbury, there was cars everywhere. Plainville, Waterford, everywhere. Used to come to Plainville Stadium.
Yeah. Now tell me, where do you call home, Stosh?
I live in Bristol now. Me and my wife, we're in a condo, and I'm retired. She just retired 3 months ago, and we do a lot of travel and cruises, and, you know, we're going to go out Montana, the Big Skies, I think, in a few months. You know, next week she's going to Chicago with her girlfriends, you know. They're staying out there a week, and that's my vacation. I'll be home alone with my kitty cat.
Oh, wow. Wow, sounds like you got a good life, buddy.
Well, we try. You know, when you're retired, you got your health. That's the thing, you know.
It's everything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as long as you have something to do every day. You know what I mean? Every day I'm an early bird. You know, I'm up by 4:30, 5 o'clock every day. I have all my shopping done, clean the house, supper's on the table every night.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? As long as I wake up in the morning, it's a good day.
Absolutely. It is a great day. You know, age is just a number. As long as you got your health.
That's it. Now, do you remember the guy that drove this car was a Smith, right? His name was Smith.
Yeah, vaguely I remember him. By sight, you know. There was so many cars. I mean, back in the 70s, we used to get 60, 70 cars at Riverside Park.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, it was all good, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A lot of good people. You know, I drove for Jarp, the 500. Yeah. He was from Prospect. He passed away a bunch of years ago. What a great guy. He was famous, you know.
Yeah, oh, yeah, they're all great. Poor Smitty passed away.
Oh, yeah, huh?
You know, recently.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know.
He's going to be dearly missed, I'll tell you.
No, of course. They all are.
They're all good guys.
They're all gentlemen, you know.
Yeah. Well, Stosh, I don't want to tie you up, and I'm so glad I ran into you, number one.
I know.
Number two, you got to remember one thing. You're famous.
I don't know about that. Thank you.
Okay, buddy. Thanks
right.
a lot.
Now, where am I?
And yes, we moved over to Mr. Dick Doyle, and this black car looks special. Tell me about it.
Well, I've owned this car, not this particular one, since I was a kid. In 1961, we raced it pretty hard all over New England and everything. We wrecked a couple of them, and this is just a show car. So it's the only thing we have left. It's a show car, but we raced many, many drag strips.
Well, I'll tell you, the car is gorgeous. Now, when you were racing, what kind of motor did you use?
Chevrolet, always had a blown Chevrolet in it.
Big block?
Big block. It started out years ago in 61. It was with a 265 Chevy engine, and then we just advanced more and more and wanted to go faster and faster. So we ended up with this here is a 460 horse with a 671 blower.
Wow. What was your best time?
927 10 years ago.
That's moving.
Yeah, 145. That was pretty good back in the day. Them times are getting beat pretty hard now, but back in the day, it was a good car to beat.
Well, you know, back in the day, tire technology ain't what it is today.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. With all electronics and stuff and everything that's racing has gone so far in the few years that we've been here that it's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I miss drag racing. We had some Mustangs, but it was always fun, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah. We raced everywhere. You know, we're here in Bristol. I met a good friend of mine, Al Oakes, which his car is here.
Pontiac.
No, that was Willie Ekstrom with a Pontiac.
I thought it was Al Oakes.
Al Oakes had Chevrolet.
He didn't work for the Pontiac?
No, that was Al worked for Loman Chevrolet in Waterbury.
Oh, yeah.
And his car is here now. They've restored that.
Oh, wow.
It's down at the end there.
Oh, wow.
You want to see a nice car.
Yeah,
It's the Iron Fireman,
Oh, wow.
you know, and that's how I got really involved in racing, because he was a true friend.
You know, I had a friend too, Bobby Lewis. Used to run against him all the time.
Bobby Lewis, I remember Bobby Lewis. Yep.
He worked at Capital Motors.
Yeah, I remember Bobby Lewis. He was at quite a few drag strips.
Oh, yeah.
Now, did you go to Connecticut Dragway or
Oh yeah,
Connecticut Dragway?
Connecticut, Lebanon Valley.
Lebanon Valley, Dover. Did you go to Dover years ago? We go to that Dover reunion at Lebanon Valley every year, and we have a great time.
Of course, New England too, up in Epping.
Oh yes, Epping, England. Yep.
I could tell you stories about shaving in the Sunday morning in a Dunkin' Donuts after sleeping over.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Remember those days, huh?
I can remember going to Sanford, Maine, to the drag races up there, and it was so cold we went into a VFW and slept in the hallways.
Hey, you know what? You did.
We did whatever we had to do.
Did what you had to do.
And enjoyed every bit of it.
I know the feeling. Well, I don't want to tie you up no more, but I want to really congratulate.
Thank
the car
you.
is excellent.
Thank you very much.
And yes, we got Brian here with this beautiful fireman. I don't get this. Tell me about the story of this car.
It's a 1939 Chevy. Al Oaks used to race it back in the 60s. He used to tow a growler with this. It was in a 48 Anglia.
Yeah.
And from the stories I've heard, he drove it to the track, and he used to pull the Anglia with this car, and the Anglia broke during racing it, so he started racing this car, and he won the whole class.
Wow. He's got quite a history, Al Oaks, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah, I heard he's in the Hall of Fame, the local Hall of Fame, and so I'm trying to keep the car. It's pretty much the way he had it. A couple changes I'm doing to make it back to when he raced it, and you know, I want to keep this car around for a long time.
What's it got for a motor?
Right now it's a 400, but I have a 409 being built at the machine shop because that's what he used to have when he raced it.
You remember Al Riccio? You remember that name?
The name sounds familiar, but I'm
the world's fastest 409.
Really? I'm gonna have to look that up.
Interesting history there.
Is he still around today, or
passed
he
away.
did?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate because a lot of these guys are passing away.
Well, I was telling people that I knew Al Oaks when he was driving a Pontiac Pro Stock, and we had a buddy named Bobby Lewis used to race against him in the Pro Stock, and Dennis Kutsavich too. I don't know if you remember him. He used to drive a Mopar.
Yeah, my father probably would know all these guys because he used to race the coupe with all these guys, and so he probably knows Dickie Doyle and all them,
And back then, you flat towed. There was no such thing as a trailer. You flat towed. You stuck the trailer hitch on the front of the car and towed it.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of stories of that. You know, like this car here, when my dad used to drive it, he was going through Terryville one time, and they opened the headers up, and he was towing it, and the guy started the car coming through, and he thought he was going to get pulled over and get a ticket because it was so loud with the open headers.
Yeah.
But no, that's great. You guys are here tonight.
You know what? This is like going back in time for us.
Yeah.
When we see these cars like this, it's special to us.
Oh yeah, special to me too. That's why I'm a little younger, but I'm trying to keep it going. You know.
God, you're keeping it going.
Got to keep it going.
Yeah. And your wife is well versed on this car?
I hope so.
Well, you think she could talk?
We should bring her over here and
we'll
see.
Get her over for an interview.
Yeah, I think we
All
should.
right, buddy, I'll let you go, and we'll get her over here. Thank
Good meeting you, man.
Thank you. And yes, we got a very special person that builds cars. Stoney, you've been doing this a while, and we got Shirley here with him.
Oh, yeah.
And then this beautiful car. Tell me about it.
Thank you, Larry. Well, it started out, I'm the third owner. It's always been a Bristol car. It was bought new at Foley Motors on Riverside Avenue. It was bought by Bob Bird, who owns Bristol Nurseries, and it was a salesman's car at the time. And they used it 15 to 18 years. And another friend of mine bought it. And we had one years ago when we started dating, and it got wrecked. And so I told this friend of mine, Corky, I said, hey, if you ever sell that car, because the coupes are hard to find.
Yeah, they
so
are.
I says, yeah, let me know. So anyway, okay, he says, I will. Well, 35 years, 40 years later, I see him at a restaurant in Plainville, and we're both looking over. We said, gee, is that Corky? Gee, I don't recognize him. Well, the girl isn't the girl you married, so maybe, I don't know, maybe we haven't seen him in years. So he waved. So it is Corky. So I went over and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And he introduced me to the girl, and he went through a divorce a while back ago. He says, "Hey, you still want that car?" I said, "You're kidding. You still have it?"
Oh my God.
He says, "Yeah." So we shook hands and I bought it. So then I brought it home, took it all apart. I sold the original chassis to a fella in Maine who was restoring a Woody, which are the same chassis and the motor and all that. And I wanted to section it, so I sectioned it. I always had a vision years ago how I wanted to do my other one, but I just never got around to it.
It's not an easy task.
No, so I cut the whole car 4 inches. It was a 3-year project to build, yeah, and I cut it 4 inches all the way around, and then of course welded it all back together. And then I channeled it. I wanted it on a new suspension car. So there was an 86 Monte Carlo Super Sport that came available. So I lengthened the wheelbase, I set it on there, made it all work, and lowered the body, and I sectioned it and channeled it 6 inches over the frame. So if I could,
What chassis did you use?
it's a Monte Carlo, Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Yep. Yeah, let me show you. Okay.
We're going to take pictures. And when we're done, we're going to take pictures.
Anyway, so then I had a Corvette motor with a transmission that was from a salvage car, and it was an 87 Corvette, and had 33,000 miles on it. And so anyway, that's my motor. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use the 700 overdrive transmission, and of course it has the 10-bolt rear. And I kept working and working, and that's the way. And I always visioned 55 side moldings. I've always loved those. And if you had a 55 back in the day, you always wanted the Mercury Marquis belt molding. And that separated the two-tone, made it really cool, and you were kind of special if you had that, you know.
You were right. That was the day. That was it.
So this car, I wound up buying them both, and I found them up at the Goshen Fairgrounds. They have a great swap meet up there and a car show every year. I forget who puts it on. You know, up in Torrington, you know, what's his name? I forget. But anyway, Glenn Riley, he puts it on. A beautiful show. So I found all the molding there from this one guy, and I found enough where I did the interior as well. I ran the 55 molding on the inside as well.
Great job.
Yeah. And then, of course, I wanted it white. I love white cars, so I did it white. And we had some. We used to race the midgets with the kids, the quarter midgets.
Water midgets?
Yeah. So I had some metal flake left over from those cars years ago. So I did the roof. I had enough to do the heavy flake, which you can't buy anymore. So that's And these moldings here, they in '51, Ford built a Crestliner, and that was the first car, the first year that had the vinyl top. So with the vinyl top, you needed to separate it with the molding front and rear. And then I also took the Crestliner dashboard. I always liked the two-tone moldings of that. So they share that with a Woody also, the Crestliner dash. So of course.
Now, I got to ask you one thing.
Sure.
There's got to be a lot of cars here that you worked on.
Oh, absolutely. Some I've even owned.
How many years has it been putting the cars together?
We had a speed shop. Was still going on, Performance Edge, and so that's 35 years now. But last 2 years ago, I retired. So Demi Godin runs it now. My old partner, and he's doing very well with it. So still building a lot of cars and selling product. We did a lot of truck accessories as well. You know,
Gotta stay young, buddy.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we're both 80 now, so you know we keep going. But
I love Mercuries. That's my problem. I got to find a Mercury.
Oh, we're doing a 49 convertible right now. Yeah, Mercury. And that's a company. And also, we put that on a Monte Carlo chassis.
Wow.
Yes.
I have to come see that. Well, I know you wanted to see some people here, and we don't want to tie you up.
Okay.
Thank you, Shirley. And Stoney,
Yeah.
you're a great guy. And
thank you.
I'm going to tell you, you're famous, too. Yes, thank you for watching the show tonight. Please tune in again next week to Racing Action Today. And yes, we also want to thank Flavor Queen for all their help and support.